We're back again today with another reading update. This is my February books wrap up. These are the 3 books that I read, and this is what I thought of them. So the first one that I read was Best of Nordic Speculative Fiction. So this is a collection of fiction books centered around like writers from different places in like the sort of Nordic area. So you've got stories from Sweden, Denmark, the Faroe Islands, Iceland, Norway, and Finland. So there's quite a different like sort of collection of areas and backgrounds in there, and it's all sort of like weird and wonderful themes and unusual stories, which I really enjoyed. So my favourite ones I think were The False Fisherman, which is about this guy who's just pretending to be a fisherman. And like that's literally the premise of it, and it was just really cool. Like I liked the description of it. I liked how he like talked about how he like went to the water and he like went through his routine and like talked about how, oh yeah, I am a fisherman. Like the other fisherman looked to me, even though he's not even actually doing anything. I don't think he ever catches a fish. The next one I liked was The Traveller Girl, which is like this boy who's due to marry this richer girl, and all of his like life is basically, it's planned out, and then he meets this traveller girl and he's like, oh, she's like interesting, and it's sort of like, I think it sort of shows that he's like thought about like what else there is in life other than what he has been told, which was really nice. And it also talks about how like people treat travellers and stuff. Another one was A Bird Does Not Sing Because It Has an Answer, which that one was so nice because it gave birds voices, so it was just really cute. Like it talked about like what birds might be saying and stuff, alongside the more like deeper story, which was really cute. And I really enjoyed this. I liked reading lots of different things. I liked the different tones of voices and like the different like the completely different like compared to all the stories were so different, and no one of them was the same, and it was nice to just like read a little one and then go to the next one and it'd be completely different. It was like very surprising, very like engaging. It was very engaging, and yeah, it was just so fun to read. So the next one I read was this one, which is The Z Word. This one is a queer apocalyptic story. This is set in America. Does it say whereabouts? I think it's set in California, I'm not really sure. And it's basically this beer company is hosting a pride event. It's sponsoring the pride event, and this lady who is the ex of the main character is working with them. And on this pride event, everything goes wrong. So not only has the main character like got her ex to deal with, there's also now the beginnings of an apocalypse, and you sort of find out why and how the beer company is related to it. And it's very much like talking about companies' treatment of people and the commodity of queer culture and tapping into pride as like a sponsorship and a way to promote your brand and not necessarily supporting the actual community, as well as like looking at like the relationships between people, and how queer people might navigate a sort of apocalyptic sort of thing. Like I really liked the fact that like the main character just wanted like the morning after pill, and she couldn't get it anyway because all the pharmacies are like absolutely trash. Like that's like things that like, if you think about like what would happen if we were in an apocalypse, like oh my god, you know, like little things like that, like can't get your prescriptions. Like I found that really cool and interesting. Yeah, as you can see, one of the foster cats bit the book. This was the doing of the 2 kittens, specifically Bella. She bit the book. So it's kind of ruined now, but only slightly. But yeah, I really like this. It was very like fast paced. It was very like, it kept it going. It didn't like stall or anything. It was like a good paced book, and I think that like this is something that I would have like, I enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed this 10 times more if I read this when I was younger, because I would have been like, oh my god. I'm still like impressed by it, but like younger me would have like ate this up. I also really liked reading this, and I picked it up because I have an idea for a queer like apocalyptic story, and I was interested in like how someone else would navigate this. So if you're thinking about something like this and writing something like this is a good book to read, because it talks about like how people deal with events that happen, how people deal with their involvement, and it talks about the community and like the queer community's reaction to things like that, and it's just very interesting. The final book that I read in February was this one, which was The Lodgers. This one I got on my little trip around the UK. This is one of the books that I got on my little trip around the UK. I don't remember where I got it. I think I got it in London. This is a book that's centered around this woman who's moved back to her town that she grew up in. She was living in the city, but it became too expensive and unlivable. She couldn't do it. So she moved to the town that she grew up in, and she's living in this new like flat. She's subletting from someone else who she's never met. She's supposed to have a housemate that never turns up. And in all of this sort of stress of moving and just chaos of life, she thinks about the place that she left. So this was where she had a room with a family, a mum and a daughter, and she sort of like makes up this sort of weird like fantasy about who lives there now and what they might be like and how they like interact with the family. And it's very like, it's a weird book. It's like it becomes like impossible to tell what is her imagination and what is her life. It really like shows how like if you're on your own and you're like stressed, you can sort of lean to fantasy as like a coping mechanism, and that can impact your like sort of life and take over in a way. Like it becomes a hobby, it becomes an obsession, and she really becomes obsessed with thinking about how this new person is interacting with the family, how they interact with other people who might be living in the other rooms, and the relationships between them all. Yeah, and it was so interesting, and I really liked the sort of the approaches and the comments on like how it is to like be a renter and how it feels to not own your space and to not belong. Like there's times when like this person has to just walk around because she can't be in the house at the weekends and she's got nowhere to go, so she just has to walk around until she can go back in because they want their house to themselves. And it's like, that's very much like things that people have to deal with, and houses being empty and flats being like empty and not having food in the house, and you know, things like that, and people's stuff being in cupboards locked away where you can't put your stuff. So it very much explores like the feelings of like being a renter and not owning your space and having to share your space and sharing your personal space with other people as well, and how that feels. So I really liked this book, and I found it like, it wasn't a difficult read. It was fairly easy read, but it actually talked about some important things as well in amongst like the sort of narration of this like fantasy. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So February was a short and sweet one. I read 3 sort of shortish books just to sort of fully get back into reading, get back into the swing of things. So as always, if you want to follow me on Storygraph, that is where I track all my reading now, and I'm on Instagram and here for more long form books. more long form videos on books, crafts, art, things like that. Yeah, so these are the books that I read.